Sub-Saharan Africa is home to many indigenous vegetable species. They contain vitamins and minerals which are essential in absorption and metabolism of food ingested by the body.
The findings that we have found for Nakati vegetable are basically it's rich in vitamins and minerals, and particular vitamins that we are looking at are vitamin A that is needed for our eyesight and immunity, and iron. Those are the typical nutrients that are needed by everybody literally.
However, over 50% of the population, especially women and children below 5, is deficient in vitamins and minerals. This is not for a lack of vegetables in meals. It is also as a result of eating vegetables that have lost their value.
The minute they start wilting, that means they are losing their nutritional value. The antioxidants, the vitamins are getting lost. And many people even don't think about that. They just know this is Nakati.
The market vendors know that the fresher the vegetables are, the higher the price they fetch. And so they improvise to keep the vegetables fresh, to try and preserve them.
In the markets, for example, the other practices they tend to do is dip them every 15 minutes in water. But each dipping in the water is draining nutrients out, if you remember osmosis.
But this is not the only point at which the vegetables lose nutrients. The nutrient depletion starts much earlier, between the farm and the market.
They load the whole plant, or they tie them in big bales and bring them to town. And they throw these bales on trucks, pickup trucks or open trucks. Then there are those who sit on top of them or stand on top of them. All of this is causing damage on the leaves.
The nutrition depletion results in a loss at 3 levels. 1. A loss to the farmers who fail to sell wilted vegetables to the wholesaler or trader. 2. A loss to the traders that fail to sell their wilted vegetables to any consumers. And 3. A loss to the consumers who buy nutrient-deficient vegetables. A group of scientists is working to reverse the negative trend. The consortium is led by Uganda Christian University.
The Faculty of Science and Technology, where I lead as Dean, brought together other scientists who are very good, whom we think have also a stake and expertise to do this research. The partners that we're working with are notably FarmGain, who have expertise in markets, Chain Uganda, who have expertise in farmer group dynamics, because they have access to farmers and they know how to organize farmers. And then the third one is a European partner from the Natural Resources Institute in the UK, the University of Greenwich. And then other partners include Ruforum, which is very key because they linked us to the funder, especially from the European Union, through FARA and PIPAD.
Each partner brings on board different expertise with a different focus. However, all of them are working towards common objectives.
Yes, the first objective is to have a better knowledge of indigenous vegetable varieties that have a long shelf life. The second objective is to have increased knowledge on technologies and processes that lead to prolonged shelf life. And the last objective is to have better understanding of efficient delivery pathways for the value-added indigenous vegetables for the market.
The project is focusing on indigenous vegetables in the Solanaceae family, which include Solanum ethiopicum, locally known as Nakati and Entula, as well as Solanum anguivi, which is locally known as Kantunkuma. Other indigenous vegetables of interest include amaranthus species such as dodo and buga.
They are God-given resources and they grow very well in our conditions, very well such that you can even exploit them for income.
At the moment, these indigenous vegetables are categorized as neglected and underutilized. This means their potential as cash crops is being missed. Without good information on these indigenous vegetables, they will always be perceived to be of lower value relative to the exotic vegetables such as carrots. And so the project is adding to the body of knowledge on the local varieties of Solanashi and Amaranthus through a process known as characterization.
It is trying to gain an in-depth knowledge of something. So you look at it physically, your observations, your measurements you can take, length, width, height, feeling it, the texture, and taking the colors.
Local farmer groups were involved in this process. The farmers provided knowledge on the varieties to the scientists for documentation. Such knowledge included information of consumer preferences.
Ensigo ya dodo omumyufu twali tumuzira. Bwe mwamutuleetera twakoba bimuli oba ki. Twajja okubona nga dodo. Twajja okumugezaako nga dodo n'awooma ino. Twatandikira awo okumulya bulungi. Era buti tumulya twasanuka, twatunda n'okutunda abaguzi batwagaana wano waka. Ole dodo gwe tubairenga naye ekinene ino bakuwa enusu 5 ayo no dodo yeramula yenka 1,2 ate nga tosibye kiganda kinene ino.
Characterization goes beyond the physical, delving into the chemical and biological composition and attributes of the plant. And through this process, the scientists found that the indigenous variety of Solanashi contains important micronutrients of beta-carotene, vitamin C, vitamin E, folates, iron, and calcium. These micronutrients are vital in proper body development and maintenance. For instance, vitamin A is essential in fetal development and for body immunity. These are the same microvitamins found in exotic vegetables such as carrots, beetroot, and chili, and yet the exotic vegetables are of higher economic value, despite also being significantly more expensive. One of the things that has been done to tap into the true value of these indigenous vegetable varieties is seed production.
To have seed, we have 4 pillars we have to work with. Farmers must be technically equipped to produce seed. If they are to do it, they must know what separates what they grow from seed. So we trained them. We help them access foundation seed from UCU, and they were able to do that. Then too, seed production is a very engaging activity because it demands a lot from the side of the farmers. So we had to professionally organize them into local vegetable seed groups. So we gave them trainings in leadership, trainings in group dynamics, trainings in gender involvement, so that it can spur development. Then thirdly, seed must have a market. Luckily, there is a lot and excessive demand of these local seeds because they are not available in our normal seed supply chains. So we found it was there, but we wanted them to orient them. That's what I said, number 3, market-oriented production. Let them produce for the market so that they must produce the proper thing.
The information documented from the classification process has not just been stored away. This knowledge is shared through different avenues. It has been shared at workshops. It has been shared at conferences. It was also shared at Gayaza Farm Camp 2016, attended by 40 schools. The information in and of itself will not reverse the loss incurred by farmers, traders, and the consumers across the supply chain. Why have a high yield of vegetables whose shelf life is only 24 hours? A farmer can literally watch his effort and money go down the drain in the space of a day. And that is where local and appropriate technology comes into the picture.
What we've introduced to the farmers is what we're calling a charcoal cooler. It's an appropriate technology which can be used for communities where they do not have electricity to be able to put up a high investment cold chain system. And this one enables the farmers to keep the vegetables cool and fresh and also retain their nutritional quality.
A charcoal cooler is a room that is constructed with walls that are embedded with charcoal. The charcoal is constantly wetted with water dripping from a perforated tube. An elevated tank at the side of the room provides a source of freely flowing water. A fan driven by wind on the roof sucks warm air out of the room, which is then replaced by cool air passing through the wet charcoal walls. The cost of construction of a cooler is approximately $1,000, money that can easily be raised by farmer groups. Given that it relies on wind energy, its maintenance cost is relatively low.
We see that the charcoal cooler can be used at the on farm where they have harvested and vegetables are waiting to be transported, and also in the markets. In the market with the market vendors where they are selling small quantities, so they can have these charcoal coolers constructed whereby they keep the bigger quantities.
The charcoal cooler gives the vegetables, which previously had shelf life of 1 day, shelf life of up to 4 days. It enables the farmer retain the nutritional value of vegetables as well as their monetary value. The other appropriate technology was designed to deal with the loss in transit. Rather than simply roll the vegetables in bales and dump them onto trucks for transport, simple packaging solutions have been provided.
We've done some participatory trials with the farmers with the Nakati vegetable and their own vegetables that they actually grow. And of the 3 packaging materials that they picked, the polyethylene bag with perforations was the one that was showing that it retained the moisture of the vegetables, kept it looking fresh. And this we tried in the charcoal cooler because we are saying the packaging needs to be used in a cold environment.
FarmGain Africa is the partner in the consortium that is responsible on gathering information on efficient delivery pathways. Put simply, finding out what market there is for indigenous vegetables of Nakati and Tula, and in so doing, establishing if they are worth producing at scale.
The first thing we saw is that Kalere market leads in the trade of indigenous vegetables in Kampala. We found that they are trading between 60 to 80 metric tons of indigenous vegetables every week, of indigenous vegetables every week. And that translates into a value of between 12 to 16 million shillings. Now that is at off-lorry value or wholesale value. Now if you take it to the retail value, that should double. So you're talking about probably 32 million worth of shillings entering into the pockets of those engaged in trading in these indigenous vegetables in just a single market.
This is the amount of money circulating among the farmers and traders in the vegetable trade, even before they adapt the appropriate handling of these vegetables to retain value over a few days instead of just one. When these new approaches are adapted, the value will even be higher, and the change is slowly beginning.
Twayiga ebintu kamaala omuli okulima mu layini n'okwawula.
Batusanga tulina enva zino wel naye nga tetuzitwala nga ekintu kikulu nnyo mu bulamu bwaffe, nga tetubeera na nsigo yazo, tetufaayo kuzirima kubeera nazo, wetuba twagala okulya olumu tunogabunoozi ezimeze eyo ku mabbali g'enju oba mu nnimiro awalala naye kati bajja ne tutula wamu ne batunyonyola bulungi ebirungi ebiri mu kulya enva zino.
Chakokula is helping the group in that there are at times when we get a complication that maybe the order is not yet the vegetables are ready. Maybe at times they tell us that on such and such a day we shall be in need of such and such a thing, such and such in such and such an amount. So when we get time, we harvest, we go and put them in the charcoal cooler, waiting for the day when we are supposed to supply.
After the implementation of most of the project activities, we went back to these same communities, that was in July 2017, and conducted an end-line survey to see how the project activities had delivered on the indicators we committed to delivering on, and this was mainly nutrition and income. We observed interesting results, and I'll start with nutrition. Households consuming indigenous vegetables 3 to 5 times a week increased from 20% to 47%. We also observed that households that hardly consumed vegetables in a period of 7 days, they reduced from 9% to 2%, and that we felt was quite a remarkable achievement. Quantitatively, we've seen vegetable consumption rise from 133 grams per person per day to 162 grams per person per day. In regards to income, vegetable sales have remained quite reasonably high in the areas that we've been working with, and we noticed a doubling of revenue from vegetable sales in ginger from $150 per annum on average to $300 per household per annum, which is an equivalent of 1 million shillings. And that was quite commendable. We also noticed there was an increment in the sale of vegetable seed, which was not well emphasized at the beginning of this project. It was a very dismal thing, but now many more households are getting into the sale of indigenous vegetable seed, and some households have been able to register sales as high as $200 in a season, and we think that is a very commendable achievement of this project.
Uganda is blessed with fertile soils and 2 rain seasons. For now, indigenous vegetables thrive by themselves mostly in the wild, and yet farmers suffer from low incomes and the population suffers from a deficiency of vitamins and minerals. Farmers are learning things can be different, that with the high nutritional value of indigenous vegetables and the low investment required for them, money can be made. With proper handling, this is a triple win. A win for the farmer, a win for the trader, and a win for the consumer.